right, team. Welcome to the Boulder Athlete Podcast. I'm Josh, and today I'm hanging out with Gina Grubb. And if that last name sounds familiar, it's because Jason is the husband of Gina Grubb. Gina, I'm grateful that you're joining. I've been looking forward to this. I know you've had mixed emotions on
True.
joining.
True. That's all right. I am excited to talk to you. All of your interviews are lovely, so I know I'm in good hands.
Okay, well, I thank you.
You're welcome.
I will make sure that that's true, and I fulfill that promise. So, Gina, look, I don't you got off the hook a little bit. Typically, on every person that joins the podcast, they submit a brief, and I get all this amazing detail in advance of like, oh yeah, it helps me shape the story. I didn't make you do that. And so we're gonna kick off with a lightning round, which is a little bit of it. And so it'll be
Okay.
fun. You're gonna, share a few things and that'll get things rocking and rolling. And then we'll get into some stuff and on your background and we'll just see where the conversation takes us.
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. Question number one, because I know you're an animal lover. Dogs or cats?
Both.
Somehow I knew you were going to say that, Gina.
Both.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Jason and our older boy are allergic to cats. So we are historically and currently a dog only family, which breaks my heart a little bit.
All right. What is a guilty pleasure?
I love naps. I love naps.
Busted.
Yeah.
All right. Super guilty. What about a hidden talent that you have, Gina?
Gosh, I don't know.
You have one. You photography.
That's true. Yeah, there we go. I'll do that. Yeah, I am a good photographer.
You
People
are
may
a
not
very
know
good
that.
photographer. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen and benefited from some of your shots, and I'm very grateful. What would your kids say your superpower is or superpowers? If I quiz them real quick, what do you think would come up?
They would probably say something along the lines of like taking care of them. They really appreciate that aspect of my personality.
Yeah, I if I had to describe you, I would say you have a huge heart. We barely know each other, by the way, and you have already made an impact on me so much so that I'm like, I could sit and have a beer with Gina, and I would love to just hang.
Yeah.
And you have a very genuine, very authentic personality, and it's so refreshing. And so we've spent a little bit of time together at the games, and then we got to hang as a my family, yeah, it was there in Tempe, Arizona with your family and Aaron's family. We all got to hang together. That was really fun. And man, I just really not only enjoyed the whole experience, but getting to know you a little bit better. And so that led to this, and I'm grateful again that you're here. Okay, what about so I'm building on this whole idea of describing yourself, hidden talents a little bit, but like 3 words that you would use to describe yourself?
Okay. Probably easygoing would be one. Sensitive in good ways and bad ways, and I am curious.
That's a good one. Unpack the sensitive and good and bad ways for me.
I can be sometimes I feel bad for things like inanimate objects and things like that, which can be, I don't know, daunting, to carry around thinking about like, oh, I feel really bad for this thing that I was carrying around the store that I had to put away or something, like so it can be really good, that whole like shadow side. Like the good side is I care a lot about animals, I care a lot about my family, the world around me. And then the shadow sides that sometimes I get sad or upset about things that are not big deals. So
Got it.
yeah.
I think you've articulated that very well. Thank you. Jason had mentioned what was considered kind of a funny story at the time,
Yeah.
but it's very related to, I think, what you just shared. And yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
Okay. What about, again, I'm kind of building on a very similar theme here, but like principles or mottos or values that you live by, if you could name one, what's something that you kind of operate by? If you had to describe like a bit of your operating system.
I think trying to decide trying to think of like with the kids, like what's the one thing I harp on them the most about or something. And it's probably about like trying to see yourself in somebody else's shoes more, like that whole golden rule, I think is an incredibly important thing to remember and live by.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, but I feel like you live by that in just limited interactions that we've had, you're so compassionate and empathetic, and it feels like you're living your life through the eyes of others in some ways where you're so caring and that you're
Yeah,
so
I try to
respectful
be.
that you're trying to do that in a way that lands well with others, and that's kinda like priority 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, we all have burdens and we all have crappy things that have gone on or that are going on, and I think the idea of like I'm not better than anybody else and I'm not, but by the grace of God go I, right? So to just think about how to interact with other people in a way that shows them love and kindness and I don't know.
I love it, and you live that out. Okay, a little twist here. What's a perfect day look like for Gina? You wake up, just top to bottom, end to end, what's a fantastic day look like for you?
Okay. A fantastic day for me would probably be getting up and making some kind of yummy breakfast, either pancakes or maybe making bread. I don't know. I like to bake a lot. So doing that. And then really I have two perfect days. Really like a perfect day would be hanging out with the family, like being able to just be together, maybe going on an adventure, maybe just sitting by our pool, going for a walk, getting a nap in at some point where I get to have a little bit of solo mom nap, hang out in the bedroom time.
Yep.
And that's I don't know. That's probably it. Yeah.
Great. Simple life. Love it. What about a recent accomplishment? Something you've done, big or small, does not have to be grand. Something that you check the box on and are proud of that happened recently.
I did a high rocks with Jason in November. That was I wanted to do it. So he joined me because I wasn't really looking forward to doing it solo. So
Mhm.
we did a team together and I was proud of myself for that. Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah. I Angela really wants to do a high rocks as well. It's almost perfectly geared for her. She's more of
She
an endurance.
loves to run, right?
Yeah, she really loves to run,
Yeah.
but she's also very strong and fit and does CrossFit also. But her superpower is running and endurance. So it's like, man,
Mhm.
and I honestly want to do one with her. We want to do one together. So when I saw you and Jason had done one, I was like,
Yeah.
man, absolutely. We got to find a way. They don't have them up around my area, up
No,
in the
no,
Pacific Northwest. Yeah, they haven't made it out here yet.
no. There's one in Denver this fall. Jason and Keegan, our oldest boy, are doing it, or they're going to do a team
Oh, that'd be fun.
together, but it's still far from you,
Yeah. Well, we'd be willing to make it happen. I think
right?
it's great experience and a awesome bonding for us as well. So
Yeah.
I'm in. Okay, cheat meal. What's your go-to cheat meal?
You talk as if I am not always doing a cheat meal. Like my life doesn't have,
Yeah, all right.
I don't know, pizza. We have pizza every Friday night. I make homemade pizzas. So, yeah.
I definitely need to come hang at your guys' place more often. Jason, every once in a while, drops a few like, Gina made this great bread and Gina made this homemade pizza. I'm like, oh man, that
Yeah,
is
I
like
finally
mine.
got it. I finally have the crust dialed in. We have a pizza steel, which is like it gets it super, super crisp. And so I'm excited about I do enjoy that's one of my favorite things. Like pizza and movie night on Friday night is kind of our routine.
Speak my language. Okay, I'm gonna skip. I was gonna ask your happy place, but we kind of did like your favorite day. So it sounds like it's at home with
Mm,
the family, chilling.
pretty much, yeah.
Okay, what is your biggest pet peeve of Jason's? I'm
Oh
sure the
man, how
list
much
is
time do
long.
we have? No.
Yeah,
Okay,
the whole
biggest one.
yeah. I mean, you can go top 5. We got all day here, Gina,
Got all
so
day. I know this is my
that's right.
podcast today,
Yeah,
right?
you just milk it.
My biggest pet peeve. One, he's not the best at cleaning up after himself. Like he does a good job with like the big things, but sometimes he'll like leave his bowl and his like tea bags out or not tea, like just little trashy things or whatever. Or he'll clean up 90% of the way and not just get that last 10%. I wouldn't that doesn't bother me. That's one
It's
of them.
on the
That's one
list.
of them that yeah, it's on the list. He listens to the same music. There we go. This would be a good one. He listens to the same song until he kills it for the rest of us.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, it's Tool right now, and it has been for the last like 5 years, maybe
Wow.
four
Yeah.
years. And part of me is ready for whatever comes next, but part of me is like, we'll just let's live here and not have to. deal with any other music, but yeah, that's what.
That's a good one. Well, both of those are incredibly familiar in this household. Yeah.
Yeah.
I dare not have Ange on here, what she might share, but I'm sure both of those are on the list. In fact, I've just built this recent playlist, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, these songs are just speaking to me." Like, I feel like it's a cheat code, like,
Yeah.
they're,
Yeah.
like, getting another layer of goodness out of me, and the entire family hates them. Every song, they're like, "These all sound the same. Stop playing these, dad." I'm
Yeah.
not even allowed to play them anymore if the family's around. Like, that's the new rule.
That's yes, because you kill them. You listen to them until everybody until they're dead to everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, like, they've never heard any of these songs before. These are not like normal songs. They're songs I
Right.
found. I felt like I uncovered some hidden gems, and I'm like
Yeah.
jamming to these things. They caught a couple songs. They've heard them maybe twice. Dad, I know. I think so. I'm pointing the
So
finger at them.
yeah, I mean, ask them, like every time we get in the car, Jason wants to listen to the same like 2 songs. And they've been the same 2 songs since we lived in Colorado.
Oh dear.
So
Okay. Well, that's you I think I'm on your side on this one. Okay. So that's the lightning round. It was not super lightningy, but those were great. And thank you for
yeah,
addressing all those.
sure.
So Gina, we're going to take a totally different gear now. I just kind of want to hear more about like your background, like your story. Where did you grow up? Like, how did you become Gina Grubb? Somewhere along the line, I'm interested in like how you and Jason met. And so maybe start with like where you grew up, life shaping moments, and lead me down the road till to when you and Jason met.
Sure. So I grew up majority in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. So lived on the western suburbs of Denver since I was in 3rd grade. I lived in another whatever. I lived in Denver since I was like 6. So I was the youngest of 3. I have 2 older brothers and I kind of tagged along. They played soccer, so I played soccer, that kind of stuff. Just was always kind of a homebody, never really had giant dreams to get out and go do things. Like I said, I played soccer, I danced, I was involved in like my church youth group and things like that, but nothing, I was never like a star in any one area. And that was pretty much that. I went to college locally, didn't finish. There was some kind of upheaval in my family life around that time that I just didn't have the drive to stick with it. And so I just kind of stopped going.
Hmm. Well, that's honest.
Yeah. So I just started working like in a retail job and Jason and I met actually through my mom, and we just became friends.
You say you met through
And
your mom?
yeah, yeah.
And
He,
what year is this?
this is like 2000, married in 2010. I graduated from high school in 2003. So 2005, 6. Jason and I started dating in 2008,
Okay.
January of 2008. My math is right. We got married in 2010.
So what does
Yeah.
that meeting look like? And what's mom's involvement in this?
Interesting story. My mom, actually, my parents were getting divorced. And at that time, Jason was a counselor and she went and saw him a couple of times. And she was like, hey, my daughter could use somebody to talk to, not in like a professional way. And so he and I just went and got coffee a few times and we were friends. I had a boyfriend and we were friends. I mean, friends in a loose term. We didn't become like friends, but he was an acquaintance who I talked with.
Yeah. Okay.
And for gosh, about a year, and then I broke up with my boyfriend and things became more took a different turn with me and Jay at that point.
And so then how long did you guys date before you got married? And when did you guys get married?
So we got married in June of 2010. So
Okay.
we dated for 18 months and we're engaged for a year. So
Right. And then that journey began.
yeah. And at the time when we got married, or when Jason and I started dating, his kiddos, Callie and Keegan, were 9 and 6 at the time. So I just kind of dove in with both feet into the family.
Yeah. And then you guys have two boys.
Yep.
Okay.
Henry is 13 as of 2 days ago, and
Wow.
Bennett's 9.
That's right,
So,
and I had
yeah.
a chance to meet both of them as we all hung out together in
Yeah.
Arizona, throwing the football around, and they were playing with my kiddos, and, my son, Jagger, he's 9, going to be 10, and so they gelled real
They had some
fast.
fun. Yeah. Yeah, they
Yeah,
did
that
have
was
fun.
cool. That was pretty cool. Right on. Alright, thanks for sharing all that. Man, the thing that stood out, I think, the most was when you said you have 2 siblings and you're the youngest and they're both older brothers. I'm really into, like, psychology and, like, how environments shape folks, and I'm curious how you think that dynamic in the family, being the youngest of 3
Mhm.
and the only girl with 2 older brothers, how did that shape you? You said, like, you're kinda following them through soccer and so on, but less from, like, an athletic perspective and maybe an ambition perspective, more like on a personality perspective. Where my head went, so I'm making
Mhm.
assumptions, please correct me,
Sure.
don't let me
Sure.
shape you this way. But the like a some level of drive to prove yourself in the family, some grit, some work ethic, and I'm trying to connect things that I know about you already, and like you're as a photographer, as a mother, as a wife supporting Jason, I see your grit and like willingness to just work behind the scenes and ask no thank yous, and just do it all very selflessly, but with incredible focus and I think authenticity. So those are the quick things that I jump to. Tell me what about that is real and like how you think that actually did shape you.
I think you're pretty spot on. My brothers were 6 years and 4 years older than me. So while I was kind of doing little girl things, they were already getting into more, they were playing more like even just soccer, playing more competitively. And so our lives, for good or for worse, kind of shaped around what they were doing a little more,
Yeah.
right? Just given the nature of where they were at the time versus where I was. And so I kind of got used to coming along for the ride, one might say,
Mm,
in what
yeah,
everybody
interesting.
else was doing. And, I not in a overly dramatic way where I didn't have any support or attention or anything like that. Like, not like
Yeah.
that, but,
In a very
like,
natural
yeah,
it just that's the way it was. Yeah, I get
right, right. It just yeah, it just naturally tagged along. And so I think, yeah, I got probably used to thinking about other people and seeing their needs and
mhm.
how I could support, my mom and my brothers and, and my dad. He kind of was doing his own thing. I don't know if I did much to support him necessarily, but yeah, I think that was a pretty good assessment of my upbringing kind of.
Yeah, in the time that we've spent together, man, I see you flexing that muscle extremely well, like s so much, and that, supporting the kids, supporting Jason and all the things he's got going on, and yeah, as I said, you're doing it in such a way that is very clear that there's no resentment being built along the way, like, "Gosh, when do I get my time in the spotlight?" It's like,
Oh
no,
yeah.
I see you doing it with real care and kindness and compassion, and like that is how you have been hardwired, which is why I was so interested to have this conversation and learn more about your background. Because I'm like, where does that come from? Because
Yeah.
that's unique. It's really unique.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I'm not wired that way. Like
Mhm.
I can serve and give and give and give, but I'm also kind of thinking like, when do I get mine? You know, I'm wired. And that's, my selfish qualities that start to bubble to the surface, where my
Mhm.
wife is much more selfless and she is wired to give and give and give and ask for nothing in return. And it just amazes me. And yeah, anyways, I have a lot of respect for you. And I can see now, knowing what I know of Jason, like, and the way that we've just kind of described you, like, it's kind of a perfect scenario.
It works well.
It
Yeah.
really does work well. You guys
Yeah.
seem like you got a great dynamic going on. Okay, so let's go
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Tell me more about because I'm interested and I'm sure others are interested, like, what's the dynamic like at the house? Between you and Jason, he's got going on, you're, like, working behind the scenes to keep
Yeah.
the family operating. Just what's that dynamic look like?
It's pretty, I don't wanna say simple, but I mean, it falls pretty neatly into, like, I know no, I mean, I know the things that I'm doing, he knows the things he's focusing on, and we just kind of do those things for the most part. So I have a heavier load with family stuff, right? Like we homeschool. I kind of manage getting the kids to practices and stuff most of the time. When there's like a conflict, he goes one way, I go the other way. But I kind of manage, all of the home stuff, and he manages so much more. I mean, besides just his training, but Boulder athlete and a lot of work that he does. So it works pretty well. I'm learning to ask more, because there can be a dynamic where we just chug along and I forget to be like, hey, I actually would like this. So I'm
Yeah.
doing better at that. So, like, I just went and visited a friend last weekend, which was amazing, like, my best friend from childhood, so got to spend a few days with her and, just things like that where if I don't think of it, Jason isn't necessarily, the person to think of it for me,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? Like, he's never like, "No, no, no, you can't do things," but he doesn't necessarily think like, "Hey, you wanna go take a trip to see Sarah?" You know what I mean? So, I'm doing better
100%.
at doing that kinda stuff, so
Yeah, that I totally get that. That we have a similar thing in our house. Like we will both just get so kind of tunnel vision on the things that we do in our lanes within
right.
the house. And then, Ange will be like, hey, either I want to do the thing similar to that, or she has to come to me to ask because I'm like, yeah, I would have never proactively raised that idea, but naturally, yes, yeah, is the answer.
Exactly,
Let's figure out a way to
exactly.
do it. And yeah, that's definitely very true for the both of us. And then on the flip side, there are things that I'm like, whoa, I got to get out of my lane and I got to actually break my routine to do something. We've got to figure out a way to support this random thing. And the great thing is, and what I'm sensing in your guys' relationship as well, is like you find a way to make it all work. And that's kind of what life requires.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot I mean, marriage is a lot of, like, sacrifices all around, for each
Yeah,
other, and, there's not a there's I don't think I think you can see my sacrifices more readily, given that I like support Jason, like it's easier to see that and notice it, but you don't necessarily see what he's doing on the other end, for me and things like that. He works and I stay home. I don't work. And that was something that that I wanted. I wanted to be able to stay home. And he just made that happen and has been making that happen since we really got married. So like, that's a sacrifice that may not be as
visible to everyone.
thank you, yes.
Yeah, but gosh, we have a similar situation in our household as well. So I definitely can relate to that. And what that enables you to do is flex your superpowers all the more. You know,
Correct. Yeah. Like, I
you
get to be able to support him really well because I don't have a bunch of other obligations taking my attention and taking my attention away from the family and being a helpmate to him.
that's right. Yeah, I I will say this because I know it's true in our household. Doesn't mean it's true in your household, but given what Jason has accomplished in his career, I think it's probably pretty safe to say there's no way he does that without you and the way that you
Yeah.
support him and the way that you support the family and the faith and the trust and the care and the love that he gets from you to go do his thing.
Yeah,
That doesn't happen.
I think it's nice for him to know that, like, we're okay.
Yeah,
He can do what he needs to do and the families we're good, right? He doesn't have to worry about what's happening back at home or I'm not calling him well, I call him and complain. No, I shouldn't say that. I call him and complain, but not I'm not like you said, I'm not resentful or stressed beyond what I'm capable of handling here.
well, I love all that. Thanks for sharing that little behind the scenes
Sure.
there.
Yeah.
I want to pivot a little bit because we touched on like your career as a photographer. I don't know how many people know this about you or Jason. Jason was also a photographer. You guys did this together, I think.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, tell me more about that because like I've seen you, on the sidelines on the competition floor snapping pics and then you work like crazy to go produce all those pics and get them out to athletes on time and I'm like, this you've got an incredible system here. Naturally, this is something that is very well practiced. You've done this for a long period of time. Walk me through that whole season of your life.
We just So Jason, if you know anything about him, he does things 1,000% right. So he got the idea that he wanted to be a photographer, and so he started shooting, and then very quickly he realized like it pays to have a second shooter. And so he was like, Gina, you need to learn you need to learn this too.
Yeah.
And so I did, and we had a lot of really good times. So we shot weddings mostly up in the Colorado mountains. And I mean, just got to see some like beautiful, beautiful weddings and just scenery. And yeah, it's tricky because it's weekend work, and it's the weekends that are usually the most lovely are the ones that people want to get married on.
Yeah.
So we would be working.
Sacrifices. There go your weekends.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was actually twofold. Jason found CrossFit, one, and two, his son Keegan was getting to be that junior high age, and we were missing a lot of his sporting events on the weekends, right? And, it tends to be like the late spring and fall are big times to shoot. And we couldn't just say, like, oh, we're just not going to work those weekends.
Yeah. That's
And
key
so
income.
we were getting a little burnt out too. It's a lot. Weddings are stressful. Wedding photography is stressful because it's not like you can get a shot. You can't have them do their first kiss a second time, or,
Yeah.
repeat their first dance if things aren't working. So it's a lot of high stress environment. But that was when he kind of pivoted to like, gosh, I really like CrossFit. I wonder if I can make this a career, and kind of ease out of the weddings. So
So what that's interesting. How does he approach that with you? "Hey, you know what? This career that we've been doing in photography, probably making pretty good money at. Well, yeah, it's busy. I wanna do fitness." And you're like, "Sorry, what?" Like, what's
I
that conversation look like?
actually, what's funny is when he first found CrossFit, I was like, "Hey, do you think you could just have this be like, could you just keep this a hobby?" Because knowing him, like I know him, you know him, he knows himself, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah, I can." And within like 6 months, he was wanting to
Full time.
dive, yeah, dive
Mhm.
head first into it. So, I mean, he hit me probably with all like the positive things, like, right? Like I wouldn't have to be gone on the weekends.
Oh, yeah, he's building his case.
Yeah, a lot less on me. I mean, we only shot 20 weekends a year, 20 weddings, 15 weddings, something like that. Like if we did engagement shoots, for the most part, he would just go do that, because towards the end we had Henry at this point, and my mom would watch him on the days that we would go shoot. But even that, I just wanted to be home, so he just like, you get to stay home. And
And you're like, "Okay, well,
so
that's a key selling point. I like that."
exactly, he got me there. But there's that easygoing part of my nature, that's always kind of trusting of him, in the like he's never not provided, he's never not
Yeah.
made things work. So Jason has always taken really good care of us, provided. And if, photography was really draining him, then who am I to say, no, you have to do this, when there's this other opportunity that he's really excited about. So
Yeah.
we just went all in. And, that's the removed version of it. Like, of obviously there was friction at some points, and, all of that. But looking back, he managed to do what he's always managed to do.
Pull it
So,
off. Find a
yeah,
way.
he's like,
I'm thinking of I mean, you said this, which was essentially he's never not provided, meaning he's proven that he can and he will, and he's earned that trust and faith from you to say, "Look, I will continue to provide," and then you had enough faith and trust in him to support this new endeavor. Not easy, not
right.
especially when you're like, "Fitness? Is there money to be made in fitness? Like, truly, how are we gonna support the family?" So that's a big
Right.
risk with
Yeah.
no clear like, at that time, I don't know what year exactly this was, but, like, the evolution of CrossFit was fairly early days. Now, like, the elites and the Rich Fronings of the world were getting some solid paychecks,
Right.
but that's not where Jason was at that stage of his career, and Yeah, so that's interesting. I'm trying to think of, like, had he approached you with that same request in a different sequence of seasons. So if that had happened prior to photography being on the table
Hmm.
or earlier in your guys' relationship, something tells me you would have been supportive regardless, but there probably would have been a very different conversation.
Probably. Actually, you know what I think? I think now would be a different conversation because I think now I'd be a little more like, "Hey, whew, we have done we've done all that. Let's just settle into," not that he's thinking of jumping ship or anything, but
Can we just
just
ride this sucker out into the
yeah,
sunset?
let's just
No more
stay with this
changes.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, we got a good thing going here. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, that's cool. I do want to circle back to this because I wrote this question down. We touched on it for a fraction of a moment, and I just want to double click on the sacrifices as a family. And this is a big question, and I can relate to the way that my family sacrifices for me. But, I think our audience would be very interested in hearing how you guys navigate really Jason doing what he does today. Like he's all in on fitness exclusively. And so with that comes these big competitions, fair amount of travel, and I know how crazy we can get as athletes during competition time when it's like all we talk about is when's the workout going to be, when the workout's scheduled, oh, what are the movements and how is my strategy, here's my performance, and oh crap, I'm going to have to redo, and how did so and so do, and like it's just overwhelming. It can be really overwhelming. How do you deal with that? Start there.
sure.
How do you deal with that?
Sure. I just like in the season of like in that like microchasm of the
Mhm.
stress and the talking and just wanting to I mean, he chews it over a lot with a bunch of other people, right? Like he gets a lot of that interaction with other people. So I
Yeah.
don't know if I see that aspect as much as maybe some other competitors who don't have as many outlets as he does.
Good point.
But I don't know. We like to talk it over. We like to chat about what his strategy is. What I don't know. I think
So
that's
you
a
you find some enjoyment in that discussion. Thank
I
goodness.
do.
It's
I
happening.
do. I do. I remember somebody at one point telling me, like, a marriage advice was like, "Your husband wants to talk to you. It doesn't matter what it is. Talk." And I don't know, I like supporting him. I like knowing maybe it helps my stress. Maybe there's part of that, that if I know how he's feeling about things, then I can kind of regulate somewhat. I get
Do
stressed
you
for
get
him
stressed?
so
Okay.
much, more than I should.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Tell me more about that because you have such a laid back personality that
Yeah.
I'm like, is she just handling this like a freaking champ or is she getting worked up or
I am a bundle of nerves the entire,
really?
like, weekend of the competition. Like, my stress on my watch, like, my stress thing is, like, when he's competing, it's like, "Hey," sends me, like, relax reminders, like,
Boy.
I'm at, like, 98% stress. I know that he's a competent athlete. I know that winning or losing doesn't really matter, like in my head, like I know all of these things. I know it's for fun. I know all of that, but I just feel deeply about it. And I think most spouses or partners, I think do, I don't think it matters if it's the first competition or the 100th competition. You just knowing that your person is out there competing, you just want so much for them, and I get the same way at our kids' sporting events that I
Exactly.
know don't matter, like, I don't
Exactly.
get, like, I don't really externalize the stress, but sometimes, like, if there's, like, it's the playoffs or something, I'll, like, start scrolling on my phone just to chill, but I do that in movies too, like, I get stressed easily, maybe, so, like, if it's a really tense moment in a movie or a show, I tend to, like, have to tap out because I start getting way too
Invested.
invested, yeah, and then it
Yeah.
starts affecting me, and that's silly.
I mean, it's not silly at all. I totally get it. Because you're kind of like an empath. I experience this actually a lot.
Hmm,
I think it's one of the reasons that I really dislike crowds. I really dislike being in an environment where there's just so much stimulus going on because I feel like I'm absorbing all of it at
hmm,
once. And it
sure.
stresses me out.
Yeah.
And I'm observing like, oh, that tense conversation that that husband and wife are having over there, something doesn't quite look like it's going well, or oh, that kid's about to injure himself on this thing, and there's just like stimulus coming in everywhere,
Yeah.
and I have to like get out of there.
Mhm.
Have to get out. I also like I will take on feelings of people around me, and it starts to get really heavy. What I'm hearing you say is very similar, whether that's a movie, whether that's
Yeah.
Jason, your person, which makes a lot of sense, or the kid. But even what you started with was like the thing at the grocery store that you had to put down because you carried it around and sorry thing, I had to put you back,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
I am so much better at that as an adult than I was in my past. But yeah, just that abundance of feelings, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's a superpower, and you're clearly wielding it in a way that's really healthy and productive for your family, and so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I was thinking more about like some of the sacrifices or what that looks like. And I
Yeah,
don't want to skim over the fact that like there are just in general sacrifices that our family makes for Jason to compete, and we do it imperfectly. And some people may think like, well, we would never do, some people make different choices for their family than us. Things like when we go on vacation, for the most part, Jason continues to work out even when we're on vacation. So we kind of work our vacation schedule around his ability to train and things like that. And that is something that we do and that's different probably from most people. So there's sacrifices there. There's sacrifices where he's just not as at home or not as available at home as other dads are, because he has a tremendous workload on top of his training schedule. But we've found ways to, really utilize the time that we have with him. Things like I do the soccer runs and the sports runs so that he can work during that time. That's not high impact family time. So I don't need him here for that, but we have dinner together as a family every night. Things like that where it may not be hours that he's home, but the time that he is, I try to make as valuable as
possible.
possible. Yeah.
I can again totally relate to that. I mean, it's interesting because like the vacation example, I think there's a lot of people that, hey, we're going to pick a vacation spot. Gosh, it'd be great if they had a gym. Gosh, it'd be great if there was something in the area. Oh, do they have a nice hotel? Oh, that's really cool. That's a nice to have. It's a nice to have for most. It's kind of a
Right.
requirement for Jason. Like this is
Yes.
not a hobby. This is his career. And it's a
Right.
source of income. This is how he provides for the family. And so with that comes a different level of expectation and sacrifice. And yeah, it's interesting. Kind of what I'm reflecting on over this conversation is not that you're downplaying the sacrifice, but it's so part of your life that it probably doesn't feel like as sacrificial as maybe it actually is.
You're true. I think it's true. I think it's only when sometimes when we see other families where I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. She says no. Huh. No.
That's good.
No, it is just part of our lives. And I think part of what's made it sustainable for as long as they had is that Jason has gotten much more balanced in his imbalance. I don't know if that makes any sense, but he, earlier, when we were at competitions, he was so focused in that he'd be too stressed to really engage with us in ways like at the competition and things like that.
Yeah.
And now he's much more relaxed and willing to be helpful. It's not just like all the taking care of him 100%. He'll make dinner, he'll do things like that.
Hmm.
That have helped balance that imbalance a little bit. Whereas I think if, it was as it was 10 years ago or whatever, 8 years, whatever, 8 years ago, I don't know times. I don't know timelines.
6, 7
Six
years
years
ago is
ago.
when,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, really tough.
That I don't think I would be as okay with it, And there's a part of me that's just like, if he doesn't do this, I don't know what he's going to take up. And,
Yeah.
I don't know if the grass is greener on the other side. Right.
Yeah. That's a great question. I mean,
Because whatever he gets into, he will,
he gets all into.
yeah. So this one
Well,
works.
I'm super grateful that he's very into Boulder Athlete because we are doing some
Yes,
really fun stuff, and
you are.
I see his passion, daily, and
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
so grateful for it that Boulder Athlete exists, and I get to be a part of it. But to, like, balance to be a balancing lever in Jason's, sphere because I see what he brings to the table, and it's like, "Oh, man, this is great." That's not that's me to a certain degree, but it's definitely not me all the way, and so I think we have a really nice complementary style with one another, as does Aaron and Adam, and, yeah, I don't wanna see Jason go pick up another thing because I know what happens to Boulder Athlete, he's gonna go off, and
Right, right. He might
that's never
decide
been a
that golf
question,
is
just
gonna be the thing. No, it's not. We are all in and very happy with where Boulder Athlete has taken us and with you guys and all of that. It's been really exciting. Been really exciting to build and bring you guys on board.
I've benefited from it, as have a lot of athletes. And I mean, all this is circling back to a truth, which is like Boulder Athlete wouldn't be Boulder Athlete without you either. And so, the role that you play in helping make this a possibility. And yeah, I'm really grateful for you, Gina. And in the limited time we've had to spend together, I wasn't lying when I said you impacted me. And it's clear that you are one of a kind, and Jason is incredibly lucky to have you in his life, as are your kids, to have you as a mother, and I wanna spend more time together, honestly, so I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to the next chance that we get. I'm assuming that's gonna be at the games
I
coming up
think
in
so.
July.
I think we're gonna be there. I'm pretty
Cool.
sure. Getting the boys and my schedule worked out is
Yeah, is the whole family going? I know we got an
I
Airbnb,
think
I
so.
don't I
Yeah,
okay.
that's the plan right now, is that we're all going out, but it'd be fun to hang out with you guys when it's not like stress weekend of competition, right?
Yeah, that does obviously kinda take center stage and focuses everybody as attention. Now I'm circling back to a comment that you made a bit ago. The difference between Jason when he, year one essentially of like trying to stand on top of the podium versus now and his level of focus then and kind of essentially having to drown out everything else. And then this things get sacrificed, people get sacrificed along the way because your
Right.
focus is so locked in and everything is so new at that time
Mhm.
that you can't
Mhm.
afford distractions because you think that they're gonna be the thing that costs you what you're trying to accomplish.
See that.
Versus where he's at now is, it's not his first rodeo, and he can enjoy the moment and the journey a little bit more than maybe he had in years prior. Has a lot of trust in his own ability, and the system that the family has created to support that has matured and evolved, and all of which plays a role.
Yeah, yeah, I think we know what's actually important, the things that I know what not what I need to do, but I know what I need to do on the weekend to help him and what maybe I don't need to take on, those things that like this really matters. This doesn't matter quite as much. So I'm going to focus here and leave these things maybe, for him to pick up or
Here's a quick lightning question for you. After the
sure.
weekend's done,
Hmm.
what's your how are you gonna decompress? What's your go-to thing? Like, the moment essentially the outcome is determined, whatever that is, you're
Yeah.
like, "Now I'm gonna go do this thing to, like, reground myself and recalibrate."
Gosh, really, I this is I don't know if I've ever thought of it or intentionally do it, but like getting outside and just sitting and being in the sun, hopefully, just reminiscing. I think we like to, after the fact, go and just kind of talk through some of the moments that are the highs, the lows, kind of work through those things in just that easy, conversational, meandering way that I think probably helps both of us kind of tie up the competition.
It's such a think back to every sporting event or team competition or of any kind, that moment that you just described has been a part of. That,
Yeah.
like, debrief, talk it out, like, reminisce, like, that's part of every single one of those.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's unique to sport and competition. That probably exists in several other contexts, but there
Yeah.
is something really powerful about that moment. Sometimes it's just a short moment, sometimes it is an extended moment, but there is something really powerful about that that just kinda, like, to your point, closes it out, puts a bow tie on it, and kind of creates closure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Allows
I
you to
think it's kind of
turn the page to the next thing. That's
right.
interesting. And I'm not really reflected on that, but I love that moment, by the way. I love
Right. Like you can think through like those moments, throughout your life probably where you've kind of ended whatever that chapter is. And yeah, they're usually good.
yeah. Here's where my head is going, and I bet you can relate to this, is I think about when because Angela is so invested in me as well and my success when I compete, and she wants it as bad as I do. And
Yeah,
she's
I have
very
stood next to her at at the competition and you can just feel it coming off
yeah,
of
and
her.
she's no
Yeah.
joke. And because she has made all the sacrifices too to help support me, and I'm so grateful for it. And so to see how much she's invested in it in the moment, but then when it's done, whatever it is, the moment that we just discussed, being able to like talk with her about that and reminisce with her, my person, and like I don't know, it's like some of the times I feel the most in love with her, if that's weird to say, but it's like I feel so close to her because it's clear that we both lived this very intense thing together. Like we were on the
Yeah.
same page the whole
Yeah,
time.
you're the team, right? She's your
Yeah.
team,
That's
right?
right, that's
Yeah.
right, and I know that you can relate to that. I've seen you and Jason go through that, and same thing where my mind is also going is the moments that we get to create like that with our kids. When they've gone through that moment, good or bad, and you get to and they come running to you, and they want to talk about it and relive the moment
Mhm.
with you, like, those are that pulls my heartstrings big time, and those are, like, life-shaping little moments for both dad, mom, and the kid, and I just love that.
Best, right?
And best. It is the best. Gina, happy Friday.
You too.
This was really cool. I'm so thankful that you did this. I know you were a little nervous coming in, but this was awesome. I'm grateful that I got to know you a little bit better, and I'm very sure that whoever's watching or listening is like, "Oh, so she's running the show behind the scenes. This
Little
is Gina."
yeah, whipping Jason, "Get out there, go work out. We need to."
That's right. Bring home the cheddar.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on. Well, Gina, thank you so much. I'm really excited to get this produced and get it out there and allow people to get to know you better. And yeah, I think people are really going to get a kick out of this discussion. And I think they'll find it heartfelt, and I'm sure that they will relate to much of what you've shared.
Well, thank you, Josh. This was really, really nice, and yeah, I don't know if I ever wanna come back. No, I'm joking. It's been great. Thank you.